going on, dudes and dudettes? I know I said in that short last night that or the night before actually, now that you're watching this, that I was going to try to update you on everything Lakers, USC, Duke, but there's too much USC stuff that happened adding on from the weekend, so I'm just going to stick with this video more. Just only USC, and then with the next day or so have more of the updates on the Duke and Lakers teams. So when it comes to USC, yes, the head coach, Andy Enfield, has finally accepted the SMU job. I guess he already did, but they were pretty much just waiting for this week to be able to save like $2 million or something like that on his buyout, which is obviously if you sign a coach that has still a contract left with that school, then you kind of have to pay their buyout price and then basically give them a contract. So this team must have a bunch of money in order to do that with a coach that I guess was successful at USC, but numbers kind of lie because he had this and that, had certain recruits, did a certain amount of wins here and there. I think he's like number 3 on the all-time wins list as a coach at USC basketball, but it just never felt like it was enough or good enough. So I don't know, we'll see where they go from here, but I know the athletic director recently released a statement saying that she's already on the search for a new coach, and hopefully it will happen soon because that transfer portal did open up pretty recently, so hoping to get somebody in to be able to get some of these new guys in, and hopefully USC does not lose more people to the transfer portal. Yes, a 2025 3-star running back, Riley Wormley, did commit to USC over the weekend. I know a lot of people are upset because it's a 3-star, but he is a very talented guy from the state of Texas, very fast. It's like 5'9", almost 200 pounds already, very shifty. He probably could be maybe even a slot receiver, kind of used like a Raleek Brown was, the guy from modern day. So we'll see where he ends up at the end of the season. After his senior season, he might be a 4-star eventually, but a lot of top teams were after him. Oklahoma, Ole Miss, places like that. So he is a very talented guy. And then, of course, Monday, as I'm recording this earlier on today, they did get a 4-star local California linebacker in Matai Tagoa'I. Hopefully we're saying that correct. And he obviously committed to USC. I think he pretty much recently visited as well from San Clemente, so pretty close to USC, not that far away. And it's one of those top 4-star, really highly rated local linebackers that they're trying to get in this class. I know Emu, who's from San Diego, I believe, and then Noah McHale as well from Laverne. They're really trying to get him the 5-star. So I did not really hear much about this guy until like fairly recently when Scott Schrader of On3 pretty much put a prediction that he would pick USC pretty soon. But other than that, I've heard more about the other guys, so I'm hoping we're not missing out on those other two. Hopefully at least get one of them as of right now, but at least the recruiting trail is still pretty hot right now, because I know Ohio State's making a lot of noise, because even though they've been signing some guys supposedly are getting their commitments, they've been losing some commitments as well. That's not talked about as much, of course, but they are getting some other pretty big time players in there, so hopefully USC can do the same. And a lot of recruiting news the past week or so to update you on for USC football. So there's this big player. He's in the class of 2025, 4-star offensive lineman. He's 6'7", 345. Nick Brooks set up an official visit on June 7th. A 2025 6'7", 220-pound 4-star edge, Al Hassan Risu. I know I'm not saying that correct, but he did have a pretty big unofficial visit to USC that he's been highly liking, so hopefully he will get an official visit. They did add a local Tustin quarterback, a 3-star guy, and Jack Stuppin, who's going to be a walk-on at that position. Was good. He even had like scholarships to other places like Houston, other places like that, like Division I level, but he loves USC that much that he will walk on and pay his own way. Sure, he'll get some help from the school, but he still wants to contribute to the program as of right now. So that's pretty cool. And then there was a 2025 5-star offensive tackle, Michael Fasusi. He put USC in his top 7, and a 4-star wide receiver, Corey Sims, put USC in his top 12 recently as well. So yes, very talented guys. I believe Corey Sims is also in that 2025 class and a 4-star too. So yes, very talented overall. Still in the running for a lot of these guys, and yes, getting and hoping that a lot of these guys still stick with their commitments or setting up official visits or coming to check out USC pretty soon. And then PFF did some more of those rankings of certain positions drafted by the schools, and USC made the top 2 for a couple more. They made the top 2 when it comes to most linebackers drafted. That's really good. And the most defensive backs drafted as well from USC. So that's obviously really good. They've had a high tradition in linebackers as well, so I'm not surprised there. But yeah, after seeing all those stats of how many guys at certain positions have historically been drafted in the NFL, I don't know why a lot of guys haven't been coming, but hopefully those numbers will go back up with more recent success for the Trojans. And the Detroit Pistons signed Chimezie Metu, ex-USC power forward, to the rest of the season, and I believe he has a team option as well for next year. So I guess over the summer they will decide if they want to keep him on a pretty cheap deal or just let him go and test out free agency. But I didn't even know he was traded from the Suns to Memphis, I believe, at that time, and then he was waived because they had too many players. So I would have loved it if the Lakers jumped in and got him and claimed him on their roster. They sadly did not, but I think he's a very talented guy. He was always an athletic big man, but then he now has a 3-point shot as well. So I always hated the fact that he went to Phoenix, but of course they stupidly let him go. So I think he's doing good pretty much right now for Detroit, but hopefully he can make it to my LA Lakers pretty soon. And yes, the USC women's team over the weekend did, in that Sweet 16 game against Baylor, beat them 74-70. Obviously made it to the Elite 8, which was nice. And of course, Juju Watkins, their star freshman, took over towards the end. I think she started off great, then kind of slowed down in the third quarter, but then picked it up, made some pretty clutch shots in the fourth quarter. And yeah, they pretty much escaped with that victory, but luckily they were able to make free throws and all that stuff, so they were able to at least advance to the Elite 8 to play one of the great teams of the women's side in college basketball in UConn. Obviously, they've had a bunch of injuries and they're not the same, great team as they are, but they still have very talented 5-star and 4-star players on that roster. So I knew USC was still going to be in a fight no matter what. And yes, they did lose finally in the tournament in the Elite 8 to UConn, 73-80. And then Juju Watkins set a Division I freshman scoring record during that game, which was nice. It's also the first time they've been in the Elite 8 since 1994. They obviously fought very hard, even holding back tears. Juju Watkins was coming off the court, shaking hands with the other team as most of these college games end, and then even in the press conference as well, being asked a couple questions and breaking down. It's tough to see, but that's how you want your best player, is to feel that emotion, get through it, and hopefully come out better on the other side, because I know she is a very talented, great player already, but this is obviously just a stepping stone and will make her an even better player in the future. So obviously college basketball, the women's side, have to definitely watch out the next couple 2 to 3 seasons, and I'm pretty sure she's going to go off next year for her sophomore year. There's not going to be no sophomore slump, in my opinion. And obviously they have a bunch of very talented freshmen coming in. I think Lindsey Gottlieb, the head coach, said like about 7 freshmen coming in, which is crazy because I know they had more transfers coming in this year and it did good, but now they have the freshman model, so we'll see how that goes. And they are some very talented players, like a Kennedy Smith, local LA girl, but you just never know if they're going to be just as good as her or not. But if the places like Tennessee or UConn, those type of places just add very talented players to some of the players that have stayed, and I think USC would be just fine. So definitely looking forward to next season. Thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great day. Bye. Fight on.